I think the recurring theme seems to be around purpose. So we're seeing both clients and agencies talk a lot about purpose. We're seeing a lot of conversation about it's okay to make money and still have purpose, which I think is a great development. We haven't yet seen that reflected in the work that's winning the awards. So there's still lots and lots of work that's winning awards that's got a very emotional, societal kind of impact, which in itself is a great thing, but also excludes, I think, a lot of probably really good work that doesn't have necessarily such a social purpose. So we've seen Unilever talking today a lot about purpose and how it's okay for their brands to be successful and still have purpose, which I think it's a great development. And I think digital and creativity are just the tools you use to communicate that purpose. They're not the actual, they're not necessarily the most, well, they are the most important. They're not necessarily what the conversation should be about. I think what we're seeing is we're seeing the dissolving of the B2B and B2C communication kind of plans. We're seeing what we've identified as like a B to H, a business to human kind of communication plan, which is really exciting because we're not talking about audiences as consumers, but audiences as human beings. So how do we appeal to them? How do we talk to them as human beings, as almost one person to the other? It's not that brands need to necessarily be their friends, but they need to talk to them in a human way, in a friendly way. And I think for some of the B2B companies, especially ones that have inherent risk in their business model or inherent risk in their business, to engage with their audiences as human beings and actually for those people to understand what it is they do, why they're in business, how hard it is sometimes to do the business they do, but the reasons they do it is kind of a really interesting development, and actually I think we'll see that changing a lot in the communications, the way we communicate moving forward. So I think obviously the one that we were expecting to win and the one that did win was Like a Girl, and you know it's a great campaign, and we were talking about it last night and discussing it, and you know what's great about it is I've got two daughters, and probably before the campaign I might have said to them, don't throw that ball like a girl. Now it's changed the way I think about my daughters, so in that sense it's a fantastic campaign because it's actually delivered real change, and I think it will deliver real change across lots of different types of people. So on the one hand that was fantastic, really great. Sometimes it's hard to remember what brand it's for though. So the campaign kind of overshadows the brand perhaps a little bit, which is always going to be a challenge. I think there were some really clever, very clever uses of technology. So the Samsung truck campaign, where there was a screen on the back of the truck which allowed people to overtake trucks knowing what was coming ahead. I think that's really good because it's delivered real impact, and so less people dying on the roads. It's got to be a good thing. And a very clever use of outdoor media, using trucks as the outdoor media is a super clever way. So things like that I kind of really liked. I think we saw a lot of reworks of other campaigns, so a lot of ideas we'd seen before reworked for different clients, perhaps not quite as well as they had done originally. And I think overall we've seen a lot of talking and not a lot of doing, which is kind of interesting. So I think we're seeing, I think Dave Droger's tweeted something along the lines of let's have less talking about it and more doing about it, and I think that's kind of key. Everyone seems to be talking about what needs to be done. There seems to be little demonstration of it actually being done, and I think it's kind of interesting that that's the case.